Buddhist kingdom is a body of knowledge about our own kingdom, so that I'm not just another, so when I meet another, I cannot say, you are a kingdom, we have the longest living Buddhist monarch in the world, and I also come from a kingdom that was, up to 1815. So I want to give them a body of knowledge about our own kings, like their own ones. They are still living, but ours are not living anymore. But we also, I also belong to a country where we upheld, these 10 principles of righteousness and all that.
That's right.
So that's what I thought of, so giving them a body of knowledge.
Yes. And then you say that ancient kings of Lanka knew Siam, modern Thailand. A few words of your experiences. It would have been different from being a university don and telling us to go here and there.
Well, yes, an ambassador's job is a matter of protocol and very interesting involved. As a university lecturer, yes, there's nothing called protocol. I mean, I go and I can say whatever I like. I'm very free in that sense. But once you become an ambassador, the little bit of discipline needed. I mean, I can just be talkative.
Say what you want.
So I also understand the government policy, and I must study it in detail, and then I must articulate in such a way that others become convinced about what we are doing. So there's a little bit of homework to be done, you see.
Did you like it?
Yes, of course. I mean, if you want to have common sense, and I think what they were doing, I agreed with most of what they did. So I could do it well. And then I had two other advantages, because I'm a Buddhist myself. The fact that I'm a Buddhist ambassador carved a special place for me among the diplomats. There are many diplomats there. There was 70-odd ambassadors from the East, from Middle East, everywhere. But I was one of the 5 Buddhist ambassadors, because usually the Nepali and Indian ambassadors were Hindus. So the only Buddhist are Bhutan, Laos, Cambodia, sometimes Japan, like the very few. So being a Buddhist ambassador, I had the privilege of getting, I had the chance of getting invited for a lot of Buddhist activities there. Even when the TV organized a program to wish the king on his birthday, they thought of me as the one to deliver the speech, right? And with the other ambassador behind me. So I get that little priority of being a Buddhist. And then being a professor had another advantage. All the universities there, all academic institutions, looked up to me for various academic matters, like for the convocation, when they want a convocation oration, they said, could you do it for us? So I had the privilege of going to the AIT, the famous Asian Institute of Technology, for the convocation and delivering an address on that day. So I had, I had kind of.
So you enjoyed your tenure.
I enjoyed my tenure.
So before we go to a quick break, a quick word of if you like, on now in your book, as we spoke on last week, very briefly, we said that our country was divided to be ruled as Rajarata and Rohana and Malaya Rata and all that. A quick word, if you like, on that concept of division and rule. How did our kingdoms find it? Was it favorable to rule as divided, or what is your opinion of it from our history?
Well, although they were divided, the main seat of government was in the Rajarata. So it's called Rajarata, the king's country. So although there were kings in the south and in the western part, the Rajarata means the land of the king. So the central government as such. The main seat of government was at Anuradhapura. All the kings were there. So while he was there, they are what you call the viceroys and other who were qualifying. They were in the other areas, like in South. For example, Dutugam, the famous one, was born in the south, in Ruhuna. He went and became king and ruled at Anuradhapura. So Anuradhapura Rajarata was the main kind of center of what you call central.
So what
government.
you're trying to say is, whilst administration may have been devolved amongst the periphery,
yes,
there was still a central control or a central governance of the country. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
There you go, people. We are coming to 2 more very interesting segments. One to do with all his other activities. He was also, Professor J.B. Disanayak was also the head of our little journalism unit at the University of Colombo, where he lectured to us in mass communication and journalism. A quick word, we are going to discuss on that. And more than that, the nationality, Sinhalese, our language, Sinhala, and its present, its future, where is it going? Are we doing enough to protect it? That's all coming your way in our next segments. So don't go away. We'll go to a quick break and we'll be back with you in the company of Professor J.B. Dissanayake very shortly. Don't go away. Hello and welcome back. As you know, we are in the company of Deshamanya, Professor J.B. Dissanayake, Professor of Linguistics, and much more, Ambassador, lecturer in media, communication. We're going to go into a little bit of discussion of the media and journalism, the head of which he was when we were journalism students in the university, in our little unit that had about 20-25 students every year at Colombo. So, everyone talks of free media or media freedom or independence of the media. In fact, some of it described today is described as a fourth element of government, of a democratic government. We have the traditional separated executive, the legislature and the judiciary, and some say that an independent media is the fourth element of a functional democracy. But is there or should there or ought there to be absolute freedom or freedom of the wild ass? How do you draw the parallel?
Well, in a democratic country like ours, we have a republic. Freedom of speech or expression is a kind of a very necessary thing that we to get the democracy going. Everybody must have their say. The majority have their way, but the minors must have their say. So that freedom. We should have freedom. But as you said, the freedom has limits. On two counts, in the terms of law, what you study, law says this can't be done. Then custom and our conventions, culture says you can't do it this way. So there is no absolute freedom as such. Freedom is always relative. So the media people must understand that you can't go to extremes and try to express things, I can defame you, although I want to talk about it. So there are limits to which I can go due to legal reasons. And other cultures...
So more than legal, you all used to teach us that A plus B equals C, accuracy plus balance equals credibility.
Yes.
Now what we see mostly on either side, there's certainly no balance. You're either totally one side or totally the other side. Ultimately, the poor viewer, us, you and me who watch or read, end up trying to decide. We actually might have to buy, say, 5 papers or watch 5 channels to get the medium view or the moderate view. Where have we gone wrong, sir? Where did we go wrong?
Well, we always think of an ideal journalist. If you can reach that ideal kind of, it's very good. That's what we're trying to teach them, be the perfect ideal one, but that's only in theory. In actual practice, there's always difference between precept and practice. So although we try to make them all that, due to various other personal and various other factors, we fall short of that perfection. So I said there are ones who would go kind of
totally
one side. Yeah. So, but then we have to kind of call him. He's not an ideal journalist.
But sir, now you were discussing the legal process of it. Isn't there also the element of self-regulation? If you try to legalize things too much, then you might have this problem that there is going to be a suppression of a media. But shouldn't we, or the journalist, or the writer, or the station, regulate themselves? Isn't media more to do with self-regulation? A quick comment.
So this is what you call ethics. You see, we always keep on asking for some code of ethics for journalists. Now, ethics have to do with this decision. Now, as we have always said, there are things that journalists can do. There are things that journalists can't do. Then there are things that journalists can do but shouldn't do. That's where we...
Can I just post you that this is how we do our dialogue. Yeah. It is interesting. After all these years, I'm having this discussion with you in a totally different environment. Then you were a professor and I was a student. So we watch, you and I watch television. We see interviews on papers, radio. Now, there are moderators or interviewers where you actually don't get to hear the opinion of the invitee or the guest or the person they're interviewing.
That means a bad journalist.
Exactly. It always starts with "Mama hitanne," or the way I think, and the poor guest is seated there, not knowing what to say. A quick comment on...
It just shows that he's a bad journalist. I mean, very clear. So he has not understood the role of the one who,
of the moderator,
of the moderator. So he should know what he should do and what he shouldn't do. So he must allow the others to talk and express themselves.
The person watching is not interested in the moderator's view,
exactly.
But the person who...
So that only shows that he is not a good journalist, that's all. I mean, there's nothing more to say about it.
We move from there, sir, to once again the length and breadth of Professor J.B. Dissanayaka's writings and publications. We will not be able to cover even in 2 programs as we are doing now. But sir, The Monk and the Peasant, I hear it's going to be a coffee table publication soon.
Very soon.
A quick word on this?
Yeah, because this is what I thought now. Being a villager myself, I love the village and the village culture and all that. So this is what you call a study of the traditional Sinhala village, the traditional one, of course. So this village has certain elements which are to be appreciated, our culture. So especially their values. So I want to say that the system of values that we appreciate is been molded by the Buddhist monk and the villager together. So I spent some time studying the culture in different parts of Sri Lanka. So this is my kind of how I document what's there. For example, what we do in the temple shows our values. For example, when you go to a temple, we are not supposed to wear shoes and ornaments, and then we are trying to should dress in white and all that, so that at the temple everybody will look alike. That is the point. Within the temple premises, there are no discrimination. All are alike. Outside there is, on terms of, on their wealth, on the caste, and on their whatever profession they do, they are different. But in the temple, once you so you leave outside the temple all the symbols of social status, like your shoes, like your dress, like your ties, everything out there. So we tend to look alike at the temple. So that is why we are made to sit on the floor at the temple. The floor is the only place where all can sit together. If you place chairs in the village, there's a problem. Some will sit, others will stand. So therefore, all are brought down to the same level. So like that, so that's the idea that after all, we are all human beings. That is what matters.
So there you go. Once again, I say I completely recommend Lanka, the land of kings. And very soon to be a coffee table publication, perhaps even more expensive when it is done. So you better rush and get your copies before it becomes one. The Monk and the Peasant by Professor J.B. Dissanayaka is certainly a publication that you might want to have a look at. So we quickly get to, I hear that you've now become popular amongst the very young.
Yes, my best fans are little children, toddlers. Like,
a quick word on Akuru Mihira and a few children's publications that you've published recently. A quick word on yours.
Yes, now it's a children. Now, unlike other cultures, in our culture, a child is given the first letter at an auspicious moment. So that's a kind of ceremony called Akuru Kiyawim. So that means we consider the introduction to literacy as a very important change in his life. Now, Englishmen don't consider, they buy a book, give it and say, now A for apple and B for bat, that's the end of it. No, we won't give the R in that kind of fashion. Once you give the R and the rest of the letters, he becomes literate and he has got power. I mean, one who knows to read and write has power over the one who doesn't know anything, the illiterate one. So that is done at a very auspicious moment with the blessings of the Buddha, the god of knowledge, Ganesha, and the god of learning, Saraswati. All three will bless this child on that day. So you are given that. And once, so all right, you are given R anyway to begin with. What is the next letter? I think in the alphabet, R followed by R, then the A and the A. No, that's not the way to learn. My idea is that once you learn R, you have to learn R anyway because that's the first letter of the alphabet at the moment. Once you learn R, the next one is the simplest letter, the T. It's just like a circle. A child can do that T. So now you know R, and now you can say Ata. You can say Atata. You only know two letters, but give the other simple letter, the Ra. Another circle, what goes this way. Now you have three letters. Now you can combine the earlier two. A, R, Rat, Ararat, Ararat, Atata, Rat. Now see, only he knows only three letters, but he can read little more. Give him Ma, he can say Mama, he can say Amar, he can say Mama Amar, Amara Rat, Amara Ratata, Amara Atta, Amara Atata, Amara Araratata, like that. And so you can even make kind of, express,
Yeah.
Mama Amarata, Amara Mata.
I knew you were going to come out. Right, so we have to go to a quick break, but before we go, you can see the talent of the man that we one of Sri Lanka's foremost. You don't need to tell you the Checkmate in its ethos to build, to help Sri Lanka get to that pristine glory that we need, where we need to get to. Takes meticulous care. Our production team takes great care in inviting our guests, and only the creme de la creme make it on the Checkmate guest list, and he is certainly, as you can see, one of that. A quick a couple of news items, news flashes from the production team before we go to a break. One is that we thank you very much for all your accreditations, all your responses. Particularly, the production team informs me that the ratings have been climbing tremendously, and that is all thanks to you. We are humbled by your watching our program and your correspondence with us on our email address that's appearing now at the bottom of the page, as indeed our Facebook page with fans climbing every day. Thank you very much for being part of this dialogue in building a better Sri Lanka, because it's your program and it is your response that has made Checkmate the sought-after program on Rupavahini. After several years, apparently our ratings have climbed. So thank you very much for your response. You've been a wonderful audience, and the production team thanks you. And for those of you who have been overseas and writing to us and asking for repeats of programs, I have two news flashes from the team once again. One is that you can now watch some of the programs online. The more programs are to go online. We are therefore 24/7, 365. All you have to do is go online. The links are on our Facebook page. So if you visit us on Facebook, that's Checkmate with Krishmal at Facebook, you will see the links and you can see some of the past programs. And those of you who are in Sri Lanka who have been asking us and sending us comments for past programs, that you missed, some of you will definitely see repeats, but if you want to purchase it, some of you have wanted to purchase past programs, you can do so by walking into Rupavahini, the marketing division, at a very nominal price. If you call them before that on the numbers that are there on our Facebook page, you can purchase your own copy of past Checkmate programs. So thank you very much for your response and for being with us. We'll be back with you in the company of Deshamani Professor J.B. Dissanayake very shortly. Don't go away. Hello and welcome back to Checkmate. As you know, we're in the privileged company of Deshamani Professor J.B. Dissanayake, and this is the period in which we enter another area of expertise. Sir, the Sinhala language and the Sinhalese, where it is going and where it ought to go is something that's been very close to your heart. I'd like to quote from something that you have written. This is what you say on our present Sinhala education. As a linguist, I feel that the present system of teaching Sinhala in the primary school is a horrible and unpleasant experience. No primary school child loves Sinhala anymore because they go through hell. If you go to the market, you look at things and check the expiry date. Similarly, what you teach is a product which is expired. The so-called grammar taught in school is what I would call something which is out of date. Then you give an example. When a person says, to, ta, ti, tepi, numma, numbala, can anybody use them now? You want to discuss this?
Yes, we have been following a very kind of archaic form of, method of teaching grammar. So we have not changed for years. So grammarians insist that they should be taught kind of old grammar. So, which is different from the kind of Sinhala that we use today. So, it's very important for grammarians, teachers of language to teach current Sinhala, what they actually use. So, when they but they are taught as the second person pronoun, pronouns that were in use about 700 years ago. We use them now just to insult somebody. If you say to or topi, we do use it, but not in polite communication, but only when you want to hurt somebody. You'll be if I say it for you, you'll be very angry with me. But that is what is taught in the school. So these teachers, in fact, the child feels, why should I learn this kind of language?
Which is almost abuse.
Abuse is impolite. So it's high. So therefore, I think it's high time that teachers and the planners of education teach Sinhala in such a way that they begin to love it, and not only to love it, to learn it with ease and with pleasure. It can be done. It's your own language. I mean, how beautiful is your own language? But it's taught in such a way that you don't love it anymore. Very, very ironical. You don't love it anymore. But for example, I'll just give one example. When you say in English, and they are what you call adjectives, right? Alut, so a new idea.
Idea.
You have an idea, I have an idea, we have all kinds of idea.
But new.
But in Sinhala, when you say alut adahas, we can double it, say alut adahas. Not only alut adahas, we can double it to say all kinds of. English can't say new idea. You can't new idea. So we have, say, for example, honda natum. එළිවෙන යාමට හොඳ නැටුම් තියෙන කියලා. Now you can't say good dancer. So we say that ලස්සන කොටු කමිසයක් අඳ ඉන්නවා. මල් චීත්තයක් තියෙනවා. මල් ගවුමක් තියෙනවා. බෝල. So we can, our language has
හසුරන විදිය.
We can double adjectives. English can't do that. So teach children. See what we can do.
Okay, so accept it. It's a wonderful language.
Wonderful language.
What do we do to protect? I mean, I know that the viewer might think that we're hypocritical. We are talking in English about protecting Sinhala language. But that's different. Both of us studied Sinhala, and we know that Sinhala needs to be protected. Yes. Because this program is in English, we're talking English. But, sir, what do we do to protect it? I mean, can I give you an example? Even parents, like perhaps even your children, and parents today, may be compelled to send their children for English education for the simple reason, even the traditional schools have now started education in India. Those days it was limited to a London O-level or a London A-level, but now even local advanced levels, ordinary levels are now available in the English language.
Yes.
So with this backdrop, how do we protect the
No, that we need English today is, we don't argue on that matter. We need in the modern world to be part of the global village, we need English. With the rise of English, with the rise of technology, we can't be without English. That's accepted. But at the same time, a child must know and understand his own language, called his first language. In my case, Sinhala, in another case, Tamil. So it's always important to give the child the pride that he speaks Sinhala or Tamil, whatever that is. To do that, the linguist and the planners must get together and give him a body of knowledge that makes him proud about his language, not just archaic things. Now, what happens right now is they are given some archaic, impractical, useless knowledge in terms of grammar. So they kind of don't like it at all. But I say replace these old archaic grammatical lessons by modern ones, so that they begin to love it. There's so much beautiful, beauty in the language.
What are you doing, or what have you done?
Well, one thing, for example, now they say a lot of children can still read. I read somewhere a note saying even at grade 6 there are children who still can't read. If that is true, what were they doing for the last 5 years? Is Sinhala such? Means Because by reading some of the first books, you can't learn to read, you only learn the first letter. Now, take any modern primer, you come across Jayana for Jambu and Rayana for Rambutan. The child learns only J and the R, not the Mbu and the Bhutan. Because you are not taught how to put a papilla for the B and all that. So what he reads is the picture. There's a nice picture of a rambutan. He says rambutan. He says Jambu because there's Jambu in the page. So he can't really read. But that's why I said I replaced that and said, well, why don't he given one letter time so that he himself start reading, like self-study. So similarly, it must go up, not only at the level of
level, but
right up.
So there you go, viewers. A very quick word to our teachers of the Sinhala language. Remember that this is our language. Over 2 programs on Checkmate, we've been talking of the wonder of our culture, of our language, and the idea is to take our language to the future, not let it die. This is Akuru Mihira, which takes this modern concept of teaching the Sinhala language, taking it, removing it from the archaic way that we've taught it. We'll show it closely. This is something that you might want to visit in your teachings of the Sinhala language to the people so that we keep our language live. So we've come to that segment where all our guests are given this opportunity. You've spent very politely, you spent 2 hours with us today. We had to go on to a second program where we just could not complete our discussion in one. So thank you very much for being with us. What is Professor J.B. Dissanayaka's message to that future Sri Lankan who may watch this in 20 years, 30 years, 50 years' time? These are going to be recorded and archived. How do you, in your area of expertise, your exposure, what is it that is your message to that Sri Lankan watching to take Sri Lanka to that next step?
So to build a new nation where every Sri Lankan can live in peace, in prosperity and in dignity, we have to plan it. How to do that? First is a matter of communication, that Sri Lankans must be able to communicate with the others. So that's a matter of language. So therefore it's very necessary that Sri Lankans learn not only his own language, but at least another second language. The second language can be Tamil, the second language can be English. It doesn't matter, so that we can communicate with the others in the island and with the rest of the world. So one is a matter of communication, how we can communicate our ideas, our expressions to the others, and how we can get knowledge, because our world, the future is always said, we are moving into society of knowledge, so knowledge society, where knowledge matters. So to get that knowledge, to have access to that knowledge, you need a foreign language, like English. So Sinhala, but not at the expense of Sinhala. We must learn English not to show off, not to be snobbish to others. Say, well, I know English and you don't. That's not for that purpose, not to be a snob. But as an instrument to get knowledge and to give knowledge through your internet or whatever.
And to take Sri Lanka
to the world. So I think first a matter of language. So for us to learn our own language, then learn another language so that we can all communicate. And once you start communicating, you exchange your ideas, your ways of thinking, how we can bring people together. So I think for a future, for a better future, we need language, and that will take you to all the other areas without any problem. So my thing is learn your language first, and then learn your neighbor's language, and maybe the language of the world globally.
Sir, thank you very much for being with us. It's been an honor having you on Checkmate, honor hosting you at Rupavahini, and personally a great pleasure seeing you after all these years and spending these hours with you. You've honored us with your presence, sir, and indeed not just Rupavahini. I'm sure the entire country thanks you for your contribution to our language, our culture, to its upliftment in the years that gone by, and hopefully it will continue in the years to come. So thank you once again. Ayubowan.
Ayubowan.